Welcome back to Comics Guy, the show where we deep dive into the comics that shaped our world. I'm your host, and today we're journeying back to the height of the Cold War, when paranoia, nuclear fear, and superpowered science collided to save Marvel Comics and launch an entire generation of heroes. We'll also touch on how their rivals at DC answered the call and why those 1960s comics still echo through today's blockbusters. From roughly 1947 to 1991, the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a global standoff that seeped into every corner of culture, from schoolrooms to silver screens. Citizens lived under the ever-present dread of nuclear annihilation, spies lurked in every shadow, and political rhetoric was a daily drumbeat. In this atmosphere, even bright-colored comic panels couldn't escape the tension. Before Marvel's meteoric rise, DC Comics kicked off the Silver Age by reinventing its Golden Age icons with a Cold War spin. Barry Allen, a police scientist, becomes the new Flash after a lab accident, symbolizing the faith in science as a path to victory. Hal Jordan, a daredevil test pilot for Ferris Aircraft, is chosen by an alien ring to defend Space Sector 2814. A nod to the real-world Sputnik launch and fears of a missile gap. Their sleek flight suit-inspired costumes and missions against industrial saboteurs captured the zeitgeist, though DC still shied away from calling out the Red Menace by name by 1960. Marvel Comics was barely breathing. Publisher Martin Goodman's magazine division was profitable, but Stan Lee's comics line was limping along with monster and romance titles, far from the superhero glory of Woodtoo's Captain America. Goodman, itching to copy DC's success, told Lee, "Give me a super team." The result was Fantastic Four #1, cover dated November 1961, from the pens of Lee and Jack Kirby. In the very first issue, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm pilot an experimental rocket. Because we've got to take that chance, unless we want the commies to beat us. This was no vague metaphor. Marvel directly channeled American anxiety over the Soviet space triumph of April 1961. These weren't flawless paragons either. They fought with each other, regretted their choices, and, even more scandalous, initially went costume-free. Readers had never seen a superhero team so fallible, yet so urgent in purpose. Riding the Fantastic Four's success, Marvel unleashed the Incredible Hulk in spring 1962. Dr. Bruce Banner's gamma bomb test is sabotaged by a Soviet agent named Igor, making Banner both scientist and monster, a Jekyll and Hyde for the nuclear age. Suddenly, Marvel's pages crackled with the fear that one wrong move could unleash world-ending destruction. Next came Spider-Man and Thor. Though Peter Parker's bite and Odin's hammer weren't Soviet plots, one of Spider-Man's first villains was the Chameleon, a Soviet spy. Thor's mythic realms might seem out of step with Cold War politics, but Jack Kirby's cover for Journey into Mystery number 87 even screamed prisoner of the Reds, as earthly and cosmic threats tangled together. Then Iron Man debuted in Tales of Suspense. Tony Stark, billionaire arms manufacturer, showcases a miracle transistor to win the Vietnam War for America, and is promptly kidnapped by communist forces led by Wong Chu. His rogues gallery reads like a foreign policy briefing: Crimson Dynamo, Titanium Man, and a Mandarin threaded through Yellow Peril stereotypes, each echoing real-world anxieties about Soviet and Chinese technology. By 1964, Marvel sensed the political wind shifting. Captain America's revival faced off more often against Nazi holdovers than Soviets, while jingoistic zeal gave way to the era's growing counterculture. As the Vietnam War grew unpopular, Marvel's heroes swapped commies at the gate for campus unrest and questions of moral responsibility. Fast forward to 2008, and Iron Man's origin is retconned to Afghanistan, keeping Tony Stark's origin grounded in America's current conflicts. Yet without a Cold War backdrop, characters like Titanium Man vanish, and the Mandarin becomes too problematic to adapt unchanged. Today's Marvel Universe still carries that Cold War DNA. Sliding timescale continuity lets heroes age in real time. But their 1960s roots in nuclear fear and ideological standoffs remain at the core of who they are. That wraps our deep dive into how the Cold War didn't just save Marvel. It gave birth to flawed heroes wrestling with the very real threats of their day. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, leave a review, and share with your fellow comic fans. Until next time, keep turning those pages.